Okay, G, can you unmute me?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
How are you, Pauline?
I'm just fine, Patty. How are you?
I'm here. You know, here to Midland.
Yep.
Nice. Wow, a lot of people on already.
Glad to see everybody.
You too. I'm ready. Oh my God, it's bleeding again. I can't wait, Sarah.
Okay, then let's get started.
Hi, G. Hi, Nita.
Morning.
In the microwave.
Good morning, and welcome to the First UU Church of Indiana, Pennsylvania. I'm Sarah Steelman, your worship leader for today. As we begin our service, we'll be turning off all microphones to reduce echoes. They will be turned back on after the service for coffee hour sharing. And now I invite you to sing along.
We need to be unmuted.
Enter the sun coming.
Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
Good morning, friends, and welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Indiana. I am Pauline Sims, a member of today's worship team, and I am happy to be welcoming you here to our online space. On behalf of the entire congregation, I want to thank you for tuning in. If you are joining us for the first time, we welcome you to our shared online space. We hope that you will subscribe to our YouTube channel for content which includes meditations, poetry, stories for all ages, and even songs. Search for Pastor Elizabeth Mount on YouTube to find our channel. For many of us, seeing one another's faces is an important part of how we feel connected on Sundays. So if you are comfortable, go ahead and leave your video on so that people can see you and enjoy this form of community. However, if you don't have a camera, or if you're afraid that worship at home may make you feel too comfortable and you'll forget that you're visible on camera, you can leave video off and no one will mind. One other feature on Zoom that I want to note, you'll see the little speech bubble in the middle of your toolbar just below the video screen. It's labeled chat, and you can use that feature for our greetings. chalice lighting ritual, and for joys and concerns during those parts of the service. The First Unitarian Universalist Church of Indiana, PA, is a member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association of Self-Governing Congregations, united in a web of mutuality that creates our denomination. We have neither creed nor doctrine, but rather we teach that all individuals have both the right and the responsibility to discern and follow their own spiritual path. We come together to support and assist each other on our personal journeys and to build our beloved community together. I invite you to stay after the service for conversation. We will open up the microphones for a coffee hour and place you in small group breakout rooms so that people can check in about how they are feeling and what's on their hearts and minds. Now, I invite you to take a breath and settle yourself into a spirit of worship.
Our call to worship is Out of the Stars by Robert Weston. Out of the stars in their flight, out of the dust of eternity, here have we come. Stardust and sunlight mingling through time and through space. Out of the stars have we come, up from time. Time out of time, before time, in the vastness of space, Earth spun to orbit the sun. Earth with the thunder of mountains newborn, the boiling of seas. This is our home. Out of the stars have we come. Mystery hidden in mystery back through all time. Mystery rising from rocks in the storm and the sea. Out of the stars, rising from rocks and the sea, kindled by sunlight on earth, arose life. Ponder this thing in your heart. Ponder with awe. Out of the sea to the land, out of the shallows came ferns. Rising to walk and to fly, out of the sea trembled life. Ponder this thing in your heart. Life up from sea, eyes to behold, throats to sing, mates to love. Life from the sea, warmed by sun, washed by rain, life from within, giving birth, rose to love. This is the wonder of time. This is the marvel of space. Out of the stars swung the earth. Life upon earth rose to love. This is the marvel of life, rising to see and to know. Out of your heart cry wonder. Sing that we live.
If you have a flame you would like to light where you are, do so now. You can also post with the chat bar that the flame is lit and where you are located. Join me now as we light our chalice flame. Flame of fire, spark of the universe that warmed our ancestral hearth, agent of life and death, symbol of truth and freedom, we strive to understand ourselves and our earthly home.
Our special music celebrating evolution weekend is the Galaxy Song, which you might remember from Monty Python's movie, The Meaning of Life. Please feel welcome to sing along now.
Nope.
Good morning, friends. So today we have a time for all ages for you all in celebration of Evolution Weekend. And it's Valentine's Day, and I just want to let you all know how special you are. What a miracle of the universe, how beloved you are. So this book is called You Are Stardust, and it's by Ellen Kesey. You Are Stardust by Ellen Kelsey. The artwork is by Soyeon Kim. You are stardust. Every tiny atom in your body came from a star that exploded long before you were born. You started life as a single cell. So did all other creatures here on planet Earth. Like fish deep in the water, you called salt water home, and you swam inside the salty sea of a parent's womb. Salt still flows through your veins, your sweat, your tears. The sea within you is as salty as the ocean. The water swirling in your glass once filled the puddles that dinosaurs drank. From ocean to sky, to land and back again, that same water has been quenching thirsts for millions of years. And you learn to speak the same way baby birds learn to sing, by chatting with your parents, saying ma 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 or tweet, tweet, tweet. Be still. Listen. Like you, the earth breathes. And your breath is alive with the promise of flowers. Each time you blow a kiss to the world, you spread pollen that might grow a new plant. Inside your brain, electricity stronger than lightning powers your thoughts, and you sneeze with the force of a tornado. Wind rockets from your nose quicker than a cheetah. You grow at night when your bones are resting, just like the sheep you count to help you sleep. You may sprout even taller in the spring and summer, just like the plants in the garden. And you fall, your hair falls like the autumn leaves. You tend to shed the most hair in early autumn and save your thickest growth for the heart of winter. Your body constantly changes. New cells line your stomach every 3 days. You'll replace your skin 100 times by the time you turn just 10 years old. You grow just as forests grow new trees in place of old ones. You grow entirely new skeletons throughout your life. If you were a planet, you'd be a lot like Earth. Rainforests on land and algae in the oceans are the Earth's lungs. And from your head to your toe, inside and out, billions of teeny microorganisms live on planet you. You know how it feels to be a good friend? Well, so do other animals. Bats and sperm whales get their friends to babysit. Elephants remain best buddies for life. You and me and the birds flying through the rainforest, we are all connected. We are all nature. We are all of us. We are all stardust. So as you listen to the rest of this service and participate in worship this Sunday, I hope you know what a special thing it is to be part of evolution, part of the world, part of the beloved community in which we are all stardust, all miracles, all blessed creations. Blessed be, and enjoy the rest of the service. Good morning.
And now, please take a moment and type a blessing into our chat to share with all the people who are participating on Zoom. Whatever you want to say this morning.
Our centering words this morning are the words of Native American Black Elk entitled The Sacred Hoop. Then I was standing on the highest mountain of them all, and round beneath me was the whole hoop of the world. And while I stood there, I saw more than I can tell, and I understood more than I saw. For I was seeing in the sacred manner the shape of all things of the Spirit, and the shapes as they must live together like one being. And I saw that the sacred hoop of my people was one of many hoops that make one circle wide as daylight and starlight, and in the center grew one mighty flowering tree to shelter all the children of one mother and one father. And I saw that it was holy.
We now come to the time in our worship when we share in community all the joys and sorrows, the concerns and gratitudes of our lives, that our joys may be multiplied and our burdens lessened by the sharing. If you have a joy or a sorrow to share, please type it in our chat bar during the music so it may be included in our pastoral prayer. Our centering music today is The Swan by Camille Saint-Saëns. It is performed by the Canna Mason family. We come now to the time we set aside each Sunday to share together in community the joys and sorrows and mixed blessings of our lives. Let us join our hearts and minds together in the spirit of prayer. Pauline wants to share her joy at being here and being a part of this service. Judy and Juanita are glad for the help of their friends as they recover from a devastating house fire. Julie has a mixed blessing, which is that she hit a deer last night, but the damage was minimal. And Ralph feels concern over Billy's impending knee surgery and hopes for a good outcome. And we have a wish for happy Valentine's Day to all, and that would seem to be an unmixed joy. For the blessings of our lives, may we be truly grateful for the beauty of the earth, for the flowing gift of life, the changing seasons. May we give thanks. In times of fragile hearts and tender sorrows, may we find comfort and strength. May our hearts be healed, and may we be filled with peace. Amen. As our UU moment today, we're recognizing the celebration of Evolution Weekend and of the Clergy Letter Project, and recognizing that UUs have been involved in the defense of the theory of evolution for many, many years. Evolution Weekend started out more than 20 years ago now in reaction to what seemed at the time like the worst problem that we had with denial of science, the insistence of some school districts on teaching alternatives to the theory of evolution and presenting them as biological science. Darwin Day was founded as a celebration of Charles Darwin's birthday. He was born on February the 12th, and became a way for people all around the globe, actually. Darwin Day is unusually popular in Australia and New Zealand in particular, to recognize the importance both of the theory of evolution in particular, and of science and our understanding of science in general. Over the years, Darwin Day morphed into Evolution Weekend, and Michael Zimmerman, who's now a retired biology professor, began the Clergy Letter Project to encourage religious leaders to express their support of science as a way of understanding the world and the universe, and religion as another equally important, equally appropriate way of understanding the world and the universe. At this point, there are more than 15,000 signers of the various clergy letters. There's a Christian clergy letter, a rabbi's letter, a UU clergy letter, a Buddhist clergy letter, and a humanist clergy letter. And many of these congregations are celebrating Evolution Weekend just as we are. I want to read a little bit of the UU letter because it gives you an idea of what we're signing on to as a church. And I also want to mention that Reverend Elizabeth, our minister, is one of the nearly 1,000 UU clergy who are signers. As Unitarian Universalists, we draw from many sources, including wisdom from the world's religion, which inspires us in our ethical and spiritual life, and humanist teachings, which counsel us to heed the guidance of reason and the results of science, and warn us against idolatries of the mind and spirit. While most Unitarian Universalists believe that many sacred scriptures convey timeless truths about humans and our relationship to the sacred, we stand in solidarity with our Christian and Jewish brothers and sisters who do not read the Bible literally as they would a science textbook. We believe that religious truth is of a different order from scientific truth. Its purpose is not to convey scientific information, but to transform hearts. We, the undersigned Unitarian Universalist clergy, believe that the timeless truths of the Bible and other scriptures may comfortably coexist with the discovery of modern science. And we now invite you to join in repeating our 7 principles as our Tapestry of Faith children's programs describe them. They'll be on your screen as we speak together. Unitarian Universalists covenant to honor the inherent worth and dignity of every person, practice justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, accept one another, and encourage spiritual growth, support the freedom to search for what is true and right in life, ensure all have a vote about matters that concern them, work for a peaceful, fair, and free world, care for planet Earth, the home we share with all living things.
At the First UU Church of Indiana, we share the plate by giving a portion of every week's donations to an organization outside of the church. This is part of our congregation's mission to promote compassionate and responsible thought and action in the world by giving back to the community around us every week. So when you give this morning, know that you are making an impact not only for this congregation, but also in the wider community through our shared giving. You are welcome to give by PayPal by sending a donation to, quote, office@firstu-indianapa.org, end quote, or you can send an email that's to that same address to find out how to set up a bank transfer or make a donation by cash or check with Holly, our office administrator. This month, our Share the Plate recipient is the Care Center of Indiana County, PA, an organization dedicated to improving the lives of abused, neglected, and at-risk children and their families, providing intervention in cases of child abuse and neglect, and promoting healthy and safe families with a range of services and programs. Jess Clark, the executive director of the Care Center, is a board member here at First UU and would be happy to speak with anyone interested in their programming and services, though due to COVID, the Care Center is not able to accept volunteers at this time. Please give as you are able to the work of this church within and beyond our walls as we share in singing our offertory hymn.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and for this we live.
Sarah, you're muted.
Since Evolution Sunday this year falls on Valentine's Day, the evolution of love seemed like a natural topic for Evolution Weekend. And as somebody who used to teach evolutionary biology and psychobiology, it's something that I find very interesting. Let's start out with a definition of love. Love is an emotional attachment between two individuals that's expressed in contact and in care for each other. Until a relatively few decades ago, a formal definition of love would have restricted it to feelings for another person. Only humans were thought to be capable of love. And love was also considered to be one of the most elevated of emotions and not available to animals. The study of and understanding of emotion in non-human animals was restricted for centuries. First, by the general acceptance of the philosopher Descartes' assertion that animals were only automata and had no feelings at all. By the time Darwin published The Expression of Emotions in Man and Animals in 1872, that idea was declining. But the underlying mechanisms of emotion were still incomprehensible. Both Freudianism and behaviorism, in different ways, also militated against a scientific understanding of emotions through much of the 20th century. However, the last several decades have seen the development of much better ideas about how and why emotions exist, both in the immediate present and as part of our biological history. For love, that history starts a long time ago, about 200 million years ago in the Jurassic. Fossils of the very first proto-mammalian ancestors have been found that indicate mothers and young offspring living together, unlike the reproductive patterns of the majority of reptiles. And there's also a characteristic reduction in the number of offspring associated with a mother. Quality rather than quantity would become typical of mammals. 100 million years later, more than 100 million years later, and 60 million years ago, the descendants of these cynodont reptiles had begun to change physically and emotionally in the distinctively mammalian way. Early mammals in the Cretaceous had developed both the ability to feed their offspring with milk and clearly the ability to become attached to and care for them, facilitated by the explosive, in evolutionary terms, development of the limbic system. The limbic system, the complex of neurons and neurosystems layered on top of the brainstem and cerebellum controlling basic life functions like breathing, developed elaborate neuronal systems and neuropeptides that function both as neurotransmitters within the brain and as hormones influencing other organs within the body. These adaptations were the basis of the wildly successful mammalian radiation into the enormous variety of ecological niches, the opportunities to thrive and reproduce, vacated by the demise of the dinosaurs. Both of these adaptations, lactation and love, must have developed nearly together. And both of them utilize the same biological molecule, oxytocin. Oxytocin, which should not be confused with OxyContin, and its precursors are found in virtually all animals, including invertebrates. But oxytocin took on multiple new functions, organ targets, and delivery systems in mammals. And this, in fact, is an example of the way in which evolution almost always works, by expanding upon and repurposing existing material to develop a new possibility and a new use. In mammals, oxytocin stimulates both uterine contractions and milk secretions. In a neat feedback loop, its production in the pituitary is also stimulated by nursing, as well as by orgasms. In the brain itself, oxytocin facilitates and is itself facilitated by, in more feedback loops, a variety of pro-social behaviors and emotional states. This is not a simple lock and key relationship, but the operation of oxytocin on neurons that activates them and prepares them to participate in neural networks within the brain and energy networks. As you heard in the story for all ages, electricity runs through your brain, and those circuits are activated differentially by different experiences and by the environment within the brain itself. The original development of maternal love and maternal attention to offspring develops in those offspring the ability to experience love and attachment as adults, both toward their own offspring and toward other individuals. Mothers and offspring actively shape each other's brains through touch, talk, and gazing at each other. Humans and other primates deprived of maternal affection, not just food, but affection, do not thrive, and if they do survive, may never be able to establish normal relationships with other members of their species. Many, although not all species of mammals, live most successfully in communities, and most of these are founded on the love between mothers and offspring, as in the cases of elephants, chimpanzees, and probably whales. Some species combine community bonding with monogamy, although not many. Wolves, for example, were originally believed on the basis of studies of wolves in captivity to have a relatively rigid social system based largely on aggression, dominance, and hierarchy. That turns out to be about as accurate as theorizing that humans in normal life relate the way people confined in prison camps do. Wolf packs could usually be called wolf families that consist of a mated pair and their children. Young wolves help raise their younger siblings and learn how to make a living as a predator until they feel ready to leave and establish their own families. Alpha males and alpha females are probably better characterized as dad and mom. Some non-human social species even go beyond caring for others they know and are related to. A series of recent experiments has demonstrated that rats, who are not generally thought of as kindly, generous animals, given in a lab setting the opportunity to free a fellow rat, and not necessarily a rat they've been housed with, from the stressful situation of being in what feels like a dangerously damp environment, choose to do that the majority of the time. Even when these empathetic and generous rats are offered the opportunity to choose to receive a chocolate reward instead of freeing their trapped companion, they typically, not always, but typically, free the other rat first, then take the chocolate reward and share it with the other rat. I'm not entirely sure I'd do as well. Not only humans, but also individuals of other species can bond with animals who are not even of the same species. When dogs and their humans stare into each other's eyes, the same oxytocin receptors are demonstrably activated, and very likely similar feelings of attachment and care are stimulated. So we have evidence from a variety of complementary sources that love, in the broadest sense, is an emotion that most mammals experience in their lives because we have all evolved together to be able to experience and to evoke it. This knowledge, I think, is relevant to both our fourth and our seventh UU principles. The study of evolution, like science in general, is an example of the free and responsible search for meaning that we covenant to affirm and promote. Although the theory of evolution has been misused to promote repulsive political ideas, and even data has been misrepresented or misinterpreted, the criticism of such misuse has always resulted in a return to accuracy and real science and the endless range of questions that evolution provokes. That's why we can celebrate Evolution Weekend and what has been called by enthusiasts the single best idea ever. And in our seventh principle, We covenant to respect the interdependent web of life of which we are a part. Our study of evolution lets us know that we are indeed part of the interdependent web. If not for the love felt by tiny mouse-like mothers 60 million years ago for their minuscule infants, none of us would be here today. We have a responsibility to protect all of our co-descendants and all that makes our lives together possible. For our closing words, I like to read the last part of the last paragraph of The Origin of Species. Thus, from the war of nature, from famine and death, the most exalted object which we are capable of conceiving, namely the production of the higher animals, directly follows. There is grandeur in this view of life with its several powers, having been originally breathed into a few forms or into one, and that while this planet has gone on cycling according to the fixed law of gravity, from so simple a beginning, endless forms most beautiful and most wonderful have been and are being evolved. And now, please join me in singing our closing hymn, Blue Boat Home.
Though below me I feel no ocean, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry that heart can stay. I've been sailing all my life now, never harbored upon I know. My universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is I know. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I glide the stormy sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with the ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, leading away by the light of the heavens, we are beautiful road. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, feel the great winds urging me on, reach the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbored apart have I known. My universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is I know.
Pauline, would you like to help extinguish our flame?
Oh, please join me as we extinguish our chalice flame. We extinguish our chalice flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
The pandemic has been very difficult for all of us. And thinking about the evolution of love and how much love is promoted by contact and how deprived of contact most of us have been over the past year is both saddening and enlightening, because it helps us realize how much the common everyday occurrences that we take for granted are important in making our lives whole. And so as we reach out to each other, even in those situations in which for two people to hug each other, both of them have to be wearing surgical gowns or separated by plastic, we can at least do our very best as we go forward to share love through gaze, through conversation, through contact as much as we possibly can. And as we go out into the world, let us think of this. To those who came here seeking the holy, may the holy go with you and in you. To those who came here seeking to embrace life, may life return your affection. To those who came here seeking a better way, may you find that way and the patience and courage to take it step by step. To those who came here seeking a better world, may we make it so by the loving work of our hands and our hearts. You are now welcome to unmute your microphones and stay for coffee hour. We will be sorting you out into breakout rooms for further conversation. And if you want to stay with the Ligonier group or join the Ligonier group, please type Ligonier in your chat bar, and Gerald will sort all the remaining participants into our breakout rooms. Blessed be.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Pastor Elizabeth. I just wanted to say thank you, folks, for bearing with me on the tech today. And I'm going to pass it over to Pastor Elizabeth to put you into your breakout.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much to G for trying out our tech. I've been doing it since the pandemic started, and it was really smooth and lovely to have someone else on that piece today. And I also wanted to just let folks know, Maureen Ittig and Luke DeGroot's child Rowan is being dedicated this afternoon at 1 p.m. So if you are a member of either the Ligonier or the Indiana congregations and would like to attend on Zoom, you are very welcome to do so this afternoon. Again, it's at 1 p.m. and I'm going to put the link to the Evite in the chat here in just a moment before I send you to breakout rooms. So that's it. Talk amongst yourselves.